everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving deep into the season 2 finale of Max's And Just Like That. Whether you're an OG Sex and the City fan or you're just here for the tea, we've got you covered. So grab your Cosmos and settle in because there's a lot to unpack here. Let's get into it. First of all, let's face it. We tuned into And Just Like That thinking it was going to be Sex and the City 2.0, and it's safe to say we felt a bit let down when that's not quite what we got. But you know what? When we dropped the expectations, the show suddenly became much more fun to watch. In fact, if we embrace the show for what it is, chaotic and unapologetically itself, it's a pretty wild ride. So let's all take a cue from Carrie Bradshaw, let go of expectations, and let And Just Like That live. Last Supper. Now let's dive right into the long-awaited Last Supper. It's in Carrie's old apartment, and every main cast member shows up. Surprisingly, though, not a whole lot actually happens. The episode felt like it should have been a farewell to her iconic New York apartment, but it was all about new beginnings and tying up some lingering storylines. We get this kind of awkward sharing exercise where everyone mentions one thing they want to let go of in one word. We weren't sure if it was a therapy session or a dinner party. Aiden and Carrie. Speaking of letting go, Aiden, the man, the myth, the legend, appears after the dinner party ends and enters Carrie's old apartment for the first time all season. Remember, he wouldn't even step foot in there previously because he said it holds bad memories from their breakup. So he's finally in, and he and Carrie have this heart-to-heart that's pure emotional whiplash. If you've been watching, you'll know that Aiden first reappeared in episode 7. He and Carrie had a whirlwind romance picking up as if no time had passed. Carrie even questioned her marriage to Big at one point. Should she have chosen Aiden all along? But seriously, that was a perplexing storyline. Was she really ready to give up on an entire marriage after reconnecting with Aiden for just a few weeks? Anyway, in the last episode, you will remember Aiden had a family emergency involving his 14-year-old son, Wyatt, who had a drug-induced car accident while Aiden was in New York with Carrie. And long story short, Aiden came back to tell Carrie that he can't commit to spending time with her in New York because his son needs him. Fair enough, we get it. But when he declines her offer to visit them in Virginia and instead proposes a 5-year break, we're just left scratching our heads. Yes, you heard that right. 5 years. Just when we thought they might settle down, Aiden dropped a bomb. 6 months, maybe, but 5 whole years and without one single visit? Seriously, Aiden, make it make sense. Our guess? Actor John Corbett didn't sign a contract yet for season 3. It's the only logical reason we can think of for such an absurd ask. But in the end, Carrie agrees as she's just resolved herself to letting go of expectations. Well, she's really testing that resolve now, isn't she? Samantha. Okay, next we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Yep, none other than Samantha Jones's return. In this much-anticipated scene, Samantha called Carrie to apologize for missing her last supper because her flight from London got delayed. First of all, since when does our Samantha let anything stop her? This storyline just doesn't feel true to her character. Second of all, her screen time lasted for all of 71 seconds. We were left thinking, really? That's it? It had the internet buzzing for months, but honestly, it felt a bit like a nostalgia trap. Seeing her was great, but the cameo felt like a last-minute plug-in that was a bit underwhelming. Considering that Kim Cattrall didn't interact with anyone else or even get out of the car, it felt like more of a PR stunt than a meaningful addition to the story. Miranda. Next up, let's discuss Miranda's redemption tour. This whole season was like watching an episode of Bad Decisions, the sitcom. In this episode, Miranda decides she doesn't want to be the person that throws exes away. First, she finally reconciles with Steve in a touching moment that's long overdue, and also manages to let go of guilt. And then there is Shay. the polarizing character who seems to either be loved or eye-roll inducing. They bump into each other at Carrie's party and they apologize. It's a far cry from the drama we were expecting. But hey, sometimes we have to be adults. Their storyline gets wrapped up, and it feels like we're putting that whole train wreck, as Shay puts it, to bed. Miranda ended the season on a high note. She got to show off her smarts during an interview for BBC while representing Human Rights Watch. Then afterwards, she had drinks with Joy, the sophisticated producer, and sparks were definitely flying. Did we sense a new romance brewing? Charlotte. All right, so let's talk about Charlotte and Harry, the season's MVPs. They get the shorter end of the stick in this finale, but we get to see the Charlotte's awesomeness. Earlier in the season, Charlotte decided that since her girls were older now, she could go back to doing what she loved, working at an art gallery. That came to a head in episode 10. She skipped family dinner to celebrate her first big art sale with colleagues. And when her phone wouldn't stop buzzing with calls and texts from Harry and the kids, what does she do? She drops it right into a pitcher of margaritas before taking another shot. Later, when she gets home, quite intoxicated, she basically tells her family, hey, guess what? I had a life before all of you. I'm more than just your mom or wife. Go back to the season 2 finale. Charlotte is in bed nursing a killer hangover when confronted by an exasperated Harry, who screams at her that he can't do it all. As if he's doing it all.
Ugh, as if.
Charlotte responds that he's not even close to doing everything. In fact, he is doing the bare minimum of what she and other women have been expected to do at home for years. She finishes up by saying that she's expecting him to split the household duties. She's not about to sacrifice her career. She loves it so much. So she needs Harry to actually help and support, and not just talk about helping and supporting. We love this side of Charlotte. This is probably the most relatable scene in the entire series because, who hasn't been there? Harry finally gets it. At the end of the episode, they share a sweet moment where Harry's supporting her by setting up her new phone. Quick sidebar, this is at least the second time the show's hinted that some of the husbands in And Just Like That are slackers at home. Last episode, Lisa called out Herbert for not pitching in with the kids. Come on, it's 2023, guys. Get with the times. Naya. So Naya, who felt like a sidebar character all season, gets a little time in the limelight for the finale. First up, the legendary Andre the Shields drops by to give her good news. Naya has been elected to the American Law Institute. Major kudos, right? But wait, there's more. Remember Toussaint, the hot Michelin star chef she was flirting with way back in episode 1? Yep, he's back, and the sparks are flying. Looks like Naya's finally finding her own happiness. Good for her. It's about time she got a storyline that isn't just Miranda's roommate. Lisa. Next up, we have the fabulous Lisa Todd Wexley. And trigger warning, we will be talking about miscarriages. Like Charlotte, she also decided to dive back into her passion and began working again as a documentary filmmaker. She and her husband were so busy. We were kind of surprised when she found out that she was pregnant in episode 9. She was clearly less than thrilled by this news, and honestly, who could blame her? But here's where the writers completely lost us. They make her miscarry at the end of the episode 10, and then dump this guilt on her in the finale, as if it could have been her fault. Look, guilt is sadly common after a miscarriage, though unfounded. But the show totally skimmed over the real emotional depth that should have been there for such an important subject. We want to know what regressive 1940s show the writers channeled to decide Lisa should spend her 2 minutes feeling guilt, and why. If they didn't have time to really dig into the topic, they should have just left it out. Or at the very least, let Lisa feel another, less complex emotion, given the situation, like sadness or anger or even relief, if they wanted to keep it real. We're all about kick-ass women owning their power in 2023, and we thought they were too. So the way they handled this felt tone-deaf. Do better and Just Like That. This was by far our biggest disappointment. But if there's a silver lining, it's that Herbert stepped up his support in words of comfort. We can appreciate that. Seema. Last but certainly not least, we have Seema. She had been spiraling because she said I love you first to Ravi. But in a surprising turn of events, Carrie actually gives her some good advice. Ravi reciprocates Seema's feelings, and honestly, it's about time. Ravi heads off to Egypt for 5 months for work, but promises he will be back as soon as he can because he loves her too. Carrie and Seema end the season sipping cosmopolitans on a beach in Greece, signaling more adventures to come in season 3. So, what did season 2 teach us? The overarching theme seemed to be that it's never too late to start over. But this season showed us that some of those new beginnings turned out pretty great, like Charlotte diving back into her career. As for others, like the whole mess with Carrie's love life, well, we will just have to wait and see. So what's the verdict? Was And Just Like That Season 2 a hit or a miss? In true And Just Like That fashion, we think the answer is, it's complicated. Some stories ended on a satisfying note, while others left us completely baffled. As always, we want to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us. And remember, in the sage advice of Carrie Bradshaw, don't forget to fall in love with yourself first. Until next time, stay fabulous.